What's the big difference between commercial and residential design? In this video, we're going to break down both industries side by side, explaining both the pros and the cons and why you should choose one or the other. For us, we like to specify in both industries, and they both have pros and cons. And it's very important to understand the difference between the two because both have different set of rules. Commercial is its own world, residential is a whole completely different world. We're going to break it down in this video. So before we begin, they're not the same industries. Commercial and residential are completely two different industries. Residential is specifically tailored towards single family residents, the luxury homes, the 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, a single family residence. Commercial is also residential in a sense, but it can be in multifamily. I mean, like 100, 200, 300 unit apartment projects. They're both kind of residential, but not really, because a residential is just a house and commercial is an entire apartment project. And an apartment project has many features that a house doesn't: amenities, parking garages, life safety systems, fire sprinklers, fire alarm, which is in a house, but a little more intricate. It's a different beast of an apartment building versus a house. Another thing to consider between the two is scale, budget, and timeline. So a house can be done a lot quicker than an apartment project. Commercial has its own world of track records. Commercial can be something that can go a lot quicker than a house because a house has clients that are going to live in it. You know, husband, wife. Commercial is more investor friendly. It's typically a fund that's fueling the investment versus a husband and wife that want to tailor the house to their personal experience. Another misconception you guys got to understand about the commercial and residential world is that commercial is not just like apartments. Commercial is industrial, retail. It could be a office building. Commercial is very wide and a wide variety. Residential is just single family housing. So by having just single family houses in its own little world, everything else pretty much applies as commercial. And the commercial clientele is different because the commercial clientele is in it to make money. They want to get in, get out. The residential can be either a house flipper or an actual end user, and that's the difference. An end user versus a fix and flipper versus a investor from a capital fund, they both have pros and cons. So you have to understand your clientele when working with these two industries. So let's break down an example. A single family house, right? You're going to design a house for a family. You have a husband and wife come on in, or whoever it may be, and the house is going to tailor to their exact needs. How many bedrooms, how many baths, pool, landscape requirements, 1-story, 2-story. When doing a commercial development, it's a little different. You're tailoring to the actual client, and that can be a storage facility, a retail, it can be an apartment investor fund. So it's really different in the sense of not as personalized versus the residential. The residential gets very in depth with the nitty-gritty details, when the commercial is more broad range. Another example of the two is that commercial has to deal with ADA, American Disabilities Act, versus residential does not. Residential has its own set of rules and codes, but the commercial aspect, you are tailoring to the general public. So you have to account for public coming in and public coming out. Residential is private, commercial is public. So when comparing the two, commercial versus residential, they both have pros and cons, but what you need to understand for yourself is what makes you happy? What are you more happy with designing? Do you enjoy dealing with the clients, having to design the nitty-gritty details of a residential house? Do you like going through that process, the experience of designing the facade, the details, the experience, versus the other side, which is commercial, which is more get in, get out, make the money and get going. Commercial is not so focused on the details, but more on the end bottom line budget. So that's the difference between the two, is what suits you. What do you like to do? Do you like to be more in tune with the client on a more intimate personal level? Or do you want to just be more of like a frontline getting these budgets out, call it a day drawings? They both have pros and cons. Both can suit either other. But at the end of the day, you have to choose what's best for you. Let me know in the comments what you like to do. For us, we like to do both commercial and residential, and we do it on various levels. So for us, we're able to have that flexibility. And for your company moving forward, you can have that too, or you can focus on either one. Let me know what works for you guys.